Hi, this is Bruce, and in today's video, we're going to see if we can't improve the insert version 2 with an insert version 3, essentially abstracting out our business logic and then creating functions for the main actions of our application. So I've written here just kind of in a bit of pseudocode what we're trying to do. Obviously, we're receiving input just like in version 2, so we're allowing people to enter in their name and email as well as their favorite TV show, so that they can share that with with the world essentially. And in this version, we're going to check to see if a user already exists. So we're going to check if their email is already in the database or in the table. And if the email is already there, instead of adding a new record, we're going to update the existing record, updating the TV show accordingly. And if their email is not there, if the user has not yet submitted their favorite TV show, then we'll go ahead and insert. So what we're going to do is take the select, the update, and the insert queries and prepared statements and abstract those out into functions. So I'm going to take this query out of here and then create a function. Insert data. And then paste it here. Now, one thing to note is because of the scope of PHP, this link will not be available inside this function. Right? So we're getting the link from the includes, right, where we've called our connection to the database link. Right? So what we're going to need to do is to pass that in here. So I'm just going to add link here. And when we call the insert update function, we will also pass the link that we get from that external file. So we're going to start off making sure that we've got some data from the user, some input data. And then essentially if we do have some data, then what we'd like to do is to see if the user exists. And now that I've taken the insert query out of the main program and put it into its own function, let's copy the insert function. And then we'll create a function to select or see if the user or the user's email in any event exists. So we'll call this select user. Again, we're going to pass in the link to our database connection, and then we're not doing an insert. Just cleaning up my comments here. We're not doing an insert. We're doing a select. And I'll just do a select all from the demo table, and we only need to check on the email. So we're going to get rid of all of this and put in a where email equals, and we'll put in a placeholder. So using prepared statements, we're using the placeholder, and then we have to prepare the statement, obviously, and then bind the parameters. But we only have one parameter we're binding, the email. So we'll get rid of the two other strings here. We'll get rid of full name, obviously keeping email, and then getting rid of TV show. All right, so we're binding that one parameter. As in the insert function, we're still executing the statement. And then instead of getting affected rows, we're going to return a result Again, I'm going to be using result with one with not plural and or singular, and then also result with plural, but that's okay. And then instead of getting in affected rows, we're going to be getting the result. We're not inserting any rows, so we can get rid of this, and we just want to record the results. So we can get rid of this. And we'll call it MySQLi num rows. And we'll make that equal to MySQL num rows. On the result. Else we're going to throw an exception. No user was found. And this time, in order to be able to use our logic down here, I'm going to do a return. So return is just sending this information back to where I called the function. And we'll use MySQLi num rows again on the result. And we'll say if it's greater than 0. So if it's greater than 0, it should return true. So if we do find an email, it should return true. And obviously if it's 0 or less than 0, it will return false, and then we should be good to go. So down here, if we don't have all the data, do else. So if we don't have the data, then do if select user is true. In other words, if there is more than 0, rows return. So if they do find a record with an email, then we want to add to our array that we're outputting as JSON. So results equals, we'll use select user and put parentheses so that we know it's a call from a function, and we'll make that equal to be called update data. So we're going to create another function called update data. And just need to fix up my syntax here. There we go. That's looking better. And let me just copy that again. And so now what we want to do is actually call that update data function. So we're going to do update data. Now that we're here, affected rows. And again, we're actually going to call the function. So we'll call it update data. And we have to pass in that link. So we'll copy the select user function again. And we're going to change it to update data as the name of the function. And this time the query will be to update. And what we want to update is the demo table from the demo table. So update demo. And what we're setting is the TV show column from our database. And we'll put a placeholder here, and then where the email is equal to. So we're adding the email placeholder back as well. So our query is we're going to update the demo table, setting the TV show to be whatever the user inputs, where the email is whatever the user has also entered. So we're going to do TV show and email. So it'll be 2 strings. So we'll just update that. And then the first one will be TV show. Right, so the placeholder is here for TV show, and then the second placeholder is for email. And now we're going to execute that statement. And let's add that if statement back in again. So if MySQL I affected rows, is less than or equal to 0. So if we're unsuccessful, then we'll throw an exception. And let's put error updating data. And let's put the actual error in. So my SQLI statement error, and we'll pass in that statement. So we can get rid of this. So this is update data affected rows. And then we're also going to do a return here. And just returning the, ideally the 1 if this update is successful, or 0 obviously if not. And then that would allow us to be able to do something based on that as well. So now we just need to add the something similar. So if this is false, right, then we're going to insert a new user. So let me just copy these 2 rows here. And so in this case, what we're calling is our insert data. And then we'll update with the number of rows affected. So insert data, affected rows, and then it will be insert data. And then we're obviously finishing off by catching any of our errors and putting those into the array and encoding out the array. So let's save this. We're going to, so normally you should just be working on your insert. Again, I've got 3 versions because I'm keeping all the versions so that we can go back and take a look at them. And then in the JavaScript demo, oh, it's already been updated from a previous try. So, but I need to specify that I want to do the insert version 3 this time. So if we put in Mixer, and mixer at .com, Saturday Night Fever and click TV show. Then it goes in, and then if we update it to Friday Night Fever and hit TV show, I can see that we're getting an error. And so let's just zip back to here. And so it's when we're updating data, we're getting an error, and I can see it right here now. We're doing a get result, but that's not what we're doing. We copied that over from the select user, but I need to remove that as well. Instead of getting result, we're getting the affected rows. So now if we save this and come on back over, and even though it worked, we're still getting a thing. So let's just change this to Thursday now, and we'll do an update, and we're still getting an error. So let's just go back here, and I can see it right here. I forgot the statement. So MySQL statement affected rows. So now if we come back here and set it to Sunday, I've gone through all the days of the weeks here, and finally we're not doing it, and then finally we're not getting any errors. So just to recap, what we've done is we've abstracted out the logic for our application into this nice little try statement here. We're essentially, we are trying to select the user. And if this returns true, in other words, if we find the user or find the user email, then we want to update the link. Else, if we don't find the user email in the database, then we're going to insert it. So we've got three different functions: select, update, select user, update data, and insert data. Right? So we can see the select user function that's using a select query. Then we can see the update function that is obviously doing the update query, and then the insert data function where we're inserting the data into the database. I hope this helps.